Welcome to the podcast. Today we will be talking about a very great and simple way to talk and work on emotional regulation with our kids. And to do that, we are welcoming Lacie over on the podcast. Let's do it. Welcome to Parenting the Intensity, where we'll talk all about how we can drop the general parenting advice that doesn't work with our emotionally intense kids anyway, and let go of the unrealistic expectations society puts on us as parents. Together, we'll find solutions and ideas that work for you and your kids. Chances are, deep down, you know what they need, but you need a little encouragement to keep going on harder days and permission to do things differently and help you fully trust that you already are a wonderful parent to your exceptional but challenging kids. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed and uncertain when it comes to parenting your emotionally intense child? Do you often find yourself plagued with guilt, fearing that you're not doing enough to help them navigate their intense emotion? You are not alone. Many parents face these challenges and struggle to find the right path forward. But take a deep breath, there's hope. That's why I created the Parenting the Intensity community. Imagine having a clear roadmap tailored specifically to your child's unique needs and your family's reality. Picture feeling empowered and confident in your parenting, knowing that you are providing the support and understanding your child needs. It may seem like an unattainable dream right now, but I'm here to tell you that it is within reach. Come join us for our monthly group support to connect with other parents and get supported with your challenge right now. You also get one-on-one chat and audio office hours for the things that you're really not ready to share in the group, and workshop, tools, courses to help you in the process of finding that balance of parenting in a way that works for you, your child, and your family. Hi, Lacie. Welcome to the podcast. I'm glad to have you here.
I am so glad to be here. It's what a pleasure.
Yeah. So can you introduce yourself and let us know why you do what you do?
Sure. I'm Lacie Newton, and I have my business is called Mama Simpatico, and I am here to help and support moms who might be wondering why mom life is a little bit harder than they thought it would be. And it's really a passion for me because this is my story.
Mm-hmm.
I was an older mom. I chose to be a mom. Excuse me. I thought I was ready. My husband and I both worked. We had a home. And then mom life was hard and it was very confusing for me. So it took a lot of soul searching and deep dive, into what the heck is going on for me to understand what was happening and to develop my toolbox even further to grow into motherhood and accept what was happening and to change my relationship with it. And I really learned what was happening in my own mind that was getting in my way, and was able to develop a new relationship with it. And I became a certified mindfulness teacher because mindfulness was actually my
Mm-hmm.
solution, because at the crux of it all, I was experiencing postpartum depression and anxiety, and I was nursing and I didn't want medication. I know that there are medications that are fine, but that was a choice that I was too anxious to make.
Mm-hmm.
And so therapy appointments were like, 2 weeks apart. And I'm like, I need something now.
Yeah, in
And
betweens.
so in between, and I was like, what do I do with this situation here right now?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn, um, and I did. And the more I started to talk about my story, the more I heard that it was very common.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we get this idea of becoming a mother, and we have these visions fill our heads of what it might be like. And then, reality comes, and it often isn't exactly that. I mean,
Yeah.
anything we plan for, in life,
Yeah.
it
Is it
it
sometimes
comes.
that? I'm guessing it's really rarely what we were expecting.
Yeah, and then so how do we settle with that? And how do we depersonalize that? Because it felt so personal. I was really questioning, my, like I was so low. I wondered if I was the right person for my children. I
Yeah.
really doubted it.
Hmm.
And it was a scary place to be. And I know I'm not alone. And so
Yes.
my goal with Mama Simpatico is to support moms and really help spread the message that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your child. You are the right mom for your child.
Hmm.
And regardless of what the messages you are getting from your culture, from your family, from the media, from Instagram, you know, there is this path that's also available where things do feel like you are the right person for this child. This child is the right one for you, and everything is okay the way it is. And we just need to work with that.
Hmm.
Um, it's, we get these messages, in the, on social media from everybody that, you're supposed to be a certain way as a mom. Your parents were a certain way, your sister-in-law is doing things a certain way. All the kids, all the parents at school are doing things a certain way. We get all these perfectly curated images of motherhood on our Instagram feeds. And we get these judgments of moms who are doing things differently. Moms, get judged when their kids have behaviors. Moms get judged when their house is messy. Moms get
Hmm.
judged when their clothes are messy, and it's incredibly, like, I don't know, it's like a can't win situation. You're
Yes.
expected to do everything. You're
Yes.
expected to do it all, but not struggle while you're doing it all.
No, of course, no.
Right.
You should rise above everything and you should have it all together. And I think like when we have emotionally intense kids, it's especially hard. Um, because all of those expectations just don't fit the reality that we're in. Also, like it doesn't fit most people reality, let's be honest, but when things are different in our life, it's even more different than the expectation. And
Yes.
so I love that what you wanted to share with us is kind of a roadmap in some way. I don't know if you see it that
Mhm.
way, but the comfort plan, which is to help navigate big emotions. And I think that's one
Yes.
of the probably the most requested topic. So I love to have many episodes on that because things can resonate with people differently. So can you
Yes.
dive into that and let us know what the comfort plan is, how it
Sure.
works?
Sure. And I'll give a little bit more backstory to how it's evolved for me too, because I'm a special education teacher by day, and I taught special ed for years in what was called the therapeutic learning classroom, and it was for emotionally and behaviorally intense school in the, or I'm sorry, it was for emotionally and behaviorally intense kids in the public
Hmm.
school, and I taught at the middle school level, and this was a classroom with large children that, have strong children, and
Hmm.
we had big behaviors.
Hmm.
And I had experience in applied behavior analysis and a lot of training in that. And so I would use that in that classroom, supporting the kids. We had therapists in there. But I had a confidence with supporting kids with big emotions and big behaviors. And then I became a mom, and I had a 3-year-old with big emotions and big behaviors. And my confidence was shot. I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know what to do, because I realized that with what I had been trained in with applied behavior analysis, and I don't care to get into a huge discussion on it because I think it can be done differently in all kinds of places. But what I had learned didn't wasn't what I wanted to do in my home,
Hmm.
because I didn't feel connected to my daughter
Hmm.
during that. It felt like I was addressing the behavior, but not the person.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to figure out that that's why I felt completely under equipped.
Mm-hmm.
And so the evolution of the comfort plan came from my experience with deep diving into what's happening and relearning like how I want to address big behaviors on a deep emotional level,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to get through these big tantrums and big experiences with connection
Mm-hmm.
and not feeling like a crappy mom and not feeling like there's something wrong with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really um, challenging, but through my evolution, through mindfulness, through her becoming more verbal and learning what was happening, um, the comfort plan emerged. And so what the comfort plan is, it's like, it's this go-to. It's like, okay, things are intense, seek comfort. And it's just that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with moms who are like, well, I was afraid I was going to reinforce this big behavior. I don't want it to be more. But what message I'm trying to share and is that when we are experiencing a huge emotion in our bodies, and our kids are experiencing a huge emotion when they have big behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's just the tip of the iceberg, but inside there's big emotion. Our brains are literally shifting from working in our prefrontal cortex, when right behind our forehead, where we're able to learn, able to communicate, we're able to problem solve. Our kids' brains are now in our more primitive, our brain, our limbic system, and they are reacting through fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. So they are
Mm-hmm.
in their stress response. There is no real learning there. There is
No.
survival.
Yeah.
They're in survival mode. And so the only thing that can get that prefrontal cortex back online is to get out of the survival mode. And we when we are feeling comfortable, our survival mode brain is turned off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they are mutually incompatible.
Yeah.
So when we approach our kids as they are this fear, they're in this intense fear, and their behaviors are to protect themselves, we can start to see that we just need to soothe them and send signals to their emotions and their body that they're safe. And so, and I don't want to send the message that any parent is like triggering major safety concerns. Like you're doing okay, it's not that. Don't take it personally. It's just how their brains and bodies are working. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we say, in my mind, I'm now, okay, what can I do to help my child feel more comfortable? Because we can do the learning later. We can
Yeah.
reflect later when her brain is on. We can do the problem solving, like, well, what if we do this differently? We do that later. So we can do that through, physical touch. We can do that through comforting words. We can do that through our environment, shifting in our environment, because sometimes the environment is just re-triggering
Mm-hmm.
that stress. So the comfort plan is really just making some like brainstorms before the big event. What would bring comfort to this situation? And just having that be the default, like letting the rest go. Safety, of course, but then comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can always come back later. Kids do not want to have these big
No.
aggressive or big emotionally, like, expressive situations. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want that. We're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be reinforcing that. And when I do work with parents, I do talk about, yes, there's times where our kids have some learned behaviors that we're like, hey, you're learning to put on this, little thing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it worked in the past, but it's not the big stuff. It's just
No. No.
not.
And I think at some point you kind of see the difference. Like you
Yeah.
see when it's just like they can very easily snap out of those learned behavior and learned
Mhm.
reaction that are used for whatever purposes, but it's really different when they have those bigger emotion. You're not gonna like make a joke and they're gonna stop. It's not that easy. It's
Right.
way deeper than that. When it's like more surface level, you know, like you're as a
Yeah.
parent, you know, you can see it, and it's
There's a
like,
different quality.
yeah, there's a different depth and the emotion, and it's like sometimes just like um I would say just naming it, like you're exaggerating a little bit right now. And if the child is like, yeah, they are. If they're really reacting even more, you've got it wrong. That was not
Right.
exaggeration.
Right.
But like when you just like make fun, or in general, when they don't have really big emotion, they will snap out of it. And just, it was just trying to get something or losing it. But when it's
Yeah.
really big, it's not the same. Like you cannot
Yeah.
get them out of them, well, out of there just easily, or
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's way different.
Yes. And I I work with my families in teaching them this 1 to 5 scale because it's a very easy way to communicate that. And what you're describing is number 3 on this scale. So, what we were talking about with that lower level. So level 1 is just completely, calm and not feeling a big intense emotion. And the 5 is the biggest
Hmm.
emotion we're experiencing. So, 1 and 2, we vacillate between 1 and 2 all day long. It's normal. We're not expecting anybody to be a 1. We even go to 3 most days, most
Hmm.
of us. But 3 is the tipping point. Once we're at 3, if we're not employing some kind of tool
Hmm.
to self-regulate, we're going to go back, we're going to go up to 4 and 5.
Yeah, yeah.
So 3 is where we want to learn where our kids are showing a 3 on the outside, because they're more likely to be a 3 on the inside. And it's
Hmm.
really critical for me to look at it as the outside or inside, because all I know as a parent is the outside.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I trust my children and the student, the kids, my students, because I'm a teacher, I say that, but also my family's kids. We give them ownership of labeling their inside.
Hmm.
We're not going to tell them what their experience is, because it empowers them to share it with us. So all we can ever say is, well, it looks like this on the
Hmm.
outside.
Hmm.
And then, so differentiating between the inside and the outside. The inside's the way it feels, the outside's the way it looks. And it helps give language to our kids. Well, you're a level 4, so a 3 is like usually whining, crying, pouting, maybe
Hmm.
using some old tricks that you don't
Hmm.
want to use, but, just offering that replacement, way of saying something, it doesn't work, pouting, stomping, that kind of thing. Level 4 is usually like really crying loud, maybe yelling, maybe kind of throwing things a little bit. But I say level 5 for the things that could be injurious to
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
slamming doors, you know, throwing things at people, biting, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so it gives a language to help the kids start to also realize what they're doing, because in the heat of the moment, when their limbic system is on and they're in their reptilian mammal, they're in their, like, primitive brain, they're
Hmm.
not in control of their
No,
bodies. And
no.
so when we go back and reflect, that's when we can talk about, what you did see as the parent. But all of this, is really best done with like a plan, a kind of phased out plan. And I do want to put out there first is that actually, when I work with a parent, um, the first comfort plan is, how can I bring myself comfort?
Yeah.
Is this, how can, what can you do when this emotionally charged situation starts bubbling up, to ground yourself so that you can be the calmest person in the room, so that you can bring yourself comfort, so that you stay at a level 3 and you don't get higher
Hmm.
in a 4 or a 5, so that you feel good after the situation is over.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's something
Um,
that we like address all the time. It's the parent. It starts with us as a parent, and as much as we would like to fix kids, that's not how it works.
right, right. So yeah, the comfort plan first step is really just like, okay, so my kid's starting to get a little bit elevated. This is the situation I know. How can I bring
Hmm.
myself comfort? And often it's, just reminding ourselves that either, through words, we can say something like, well, it's okay, so in parenting, there are hard moments, and this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just remembering that it's just not you, it's just parenting. There are
Yeah.
hard moments.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's, doing a self-compassion kind of thought. And I often teach, it's understandable that I feel frustrated, fill in the blank, because, and just offering ourselves that understanding of our emotions brings a lot of regulation to our own internal system. Being understood in general will help
Mm-hmm.
regulate anybody's system.
Mm-hmm.
And so bringing understanding to ourselves in that moment in our own minds can help. Also, it could be just putting on, more comfortable pants, like your kid's a
Yes.
little high, you can tell it could happen today. Get comfortable clothes on, make sure you
Mm-hmm.
have water nearby, things like that. Um, and so getting comfort for yourself. And then number two, getting comfort for your child. And, you can even, parents can even develop a comfort plan with their child out of the moment.
Yeah,
Um,
of
you
course.
know, and we use this in my house a lot. My daughter has a lot of sensory, physical, triggers, I guess I could say, with clothes and just
Mm-hmm.
things. And she's labeled them the bugs. And, that's her word. And
Mm-hmm.
so the bugs, we talk about the bugs, like it's as normal as feeling happy in our
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
And I've asked her out of the heat of the moment what helps, and it's hugs. And
Mm.
then she gets the bugs and she's like, no, don't touch me. And I'm like, just a reminder, hugs help. And it
Mm-hmm.
took a while, but she would slowly open to her own suggestion. And now we have this thing where she calls for me, and I know she's laying on the floor, and I go and I hug her for like 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just calms her body down. It's what works for her.
Yeah. And that's
And
interesting because what you said, like you had identified that out of the moment and in the moment, we can reflect on our own experience. We know what helps, but often when things are going bad, we are not able to go there. Like
mhm,
I can tell you that when I go, I don't feel as good. I don't want to do yoga as much as when I feel good, but
mhm,
it's when I
right.
don't feel good that I should do it more. So that's an important thing to like, she knows that's as helpful in her, but in the moment she won't be able to reach that necessarily. And she needs
Yeah.
the help of the parent to be able to reach that without forcing, of course. But as you said, reminding her that that's helpful for you. Can I hug you? And
Mhm.
now, like, it's helpful.
Yeah. Now she's able to see it at a lower level. We
Mhm.
talk 1 to 5 all the time in our house. And another thing, about 1 to 5 is it's a way to communicate without words. So
Yeah,
in
just the
our
end.
house,
Mm.
in our house, even with her sibling too, we know that if we hold up the number 4, the number 5, anything, it means I don't really want to talk right now, but it's not personal. It's not about you.
Mhm.
I'm grumpy for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And so it really opens the door of communication and understanding.
Yeah,
Um,
love that. It's a great
yeah.
way also for siblings to clearly understand. And when kids cannot express, like, I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling this way, at least they can say, I'm feeling like a 4. Like, just don't bother me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great boundary.
Yes, because our language is in the prefrontal cortex,
Mhm.
So, it is a step towards communication, but it doesn't require words.
Mhm.
And of course, if we can get to the point where we can talk about it, we are getting more out of
Yeah,
that
we're
reptilian
calmer.
part. There's
Yeah.
this, name it to tame it kind of idea in mindfulness, where if you can name your emotion, you're starting to work with it. But
Mhm.
our kids are not always there, and
No.
none of us adults aren't always there. So sometimes we just regulate ourselves even by saying, wow, this is a level 5. I don't know what it is. I don't know what
Mhm.
emotion it is, but it's a level 5 for me.
Mhm.
Um, and this also brings in this idea, it brings in more understanding for the whole family, because it's so fluid, this 1 to 5 system in our house. And it has been with some of the folks that I work with. But I can get to this point where I know my own levels. If I'm a level 3, I cannot say yes to glitter. for my kids. I cannot.
I totally
Because
get that.
if I come back, if I give them the glitter, no matter how much they say they're going to clean it up, if
Yeah,
I give
there's
that to
gonna be
them,
some everywhere.
there's going to be some everywhere, and that's going to take me up. That's going to take me,
Yeah,
because we're adults. Like, we have bills, we have work, we have rude
yeah,
people, we have all this stuff in our own lives
yeah.
that triggers us, and that's what I love about the comfort plan and when I teach navigating big emotions is really the overarching program that I teach with this. But it teaches a communication that normalizes that us adults are having big emotions irregardless of what is happening with our kids. So then
Yeah.
when the kids come in, it's another trigger, and that's okay. It's a human thing to be triggered
Hmm.
by this,
Hmm.
because like I said before, we're getting all these messages of what it's supposed to be. And, so we start to question ourselves. But this is how we start to work with it, how we start to normalize, like, this is parenting.
Hmm.
This is parenting for me and my child.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm working with. So when my kids, it also depersonalizes my tricky moments, us as adults.
Hmm.
So when my kids are wanting to do something that I feel, I already have this tension in my body, like I can feel it,
Hmm.
because I practice mindfulness and I'm pretty in tune.
Yeah.
Um, Not that I get it right all the time. I would like to caveat that. But once I realize that I am slightly, kind of just on edge, I'm a level
Hmm.
3 myself. I can tell them, you know what, I would love to bring out the glitter, but we're going to have to wait because I've got a few grown-up things going on that I need to deal with, or I need to go take a rest. I'm a
Hmm.
level 3 for some grown-up reasons. But when I'm feeling more like I can help with the glitter and the take
Hmm.
that, any messes that come, I know you're going to clean it up most, yourself. I know you told
Hmm.
me that, but I need to be a level 2 or 1.
Hmm.
They realize what's happening because we've talked about it so much.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and the thing is, they're not taking it personally. When I've come to them without doing that and I'm in a grumpy mood,
Hmm.
my kids think I'm mad at them,
Yeah. Yeah. And they
you
so
know
easily think that, even if that's not the case, and that's not
right?
what we're trying to convey, but just the fact that we are not in the great mood, kids will really fast integrate that they did something wrong. So
Yeah, they take it personally. And so
yeah.
this is the way to separate that. And it breaks my heart the times that I wasn't able to, and nobody's ever going to get it right all the time, but it offers a conversation for repair too. I am so sorry. I was a
Hmm.
level 4. I should have done this differently. And
Yeah.
modeling, like, gosh, I should have told you I was a level 4 and I should have taken a break and then
Hmm.
come back to you, and it gives them some understanding so that we can keep that communication, attunement, and connection going through the rough patches.
Yeah, I really love that. That's a really I love that the simplicity of that way of talking about it. Like, it doesn't even require words. So that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for sharing that. I think it's a very great tool for parents to use and start using. And we will have to have you over again to go deeper on that, and mindfulness, I think,
Sure.
also would be great. We did have some episodes on that, but I would love to dive deeper on the link between the two. So
I
we'll
would
have
love
to
to.
have you over again. So thank
Yes,
you
for
very much
sure.
for being here. Is there any resource that you use or love that you would like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, when I had those troubles as the mom of a 2, 3-year-old, I leaned on the Janet Lansbury podcast a lot, and she was one of my, what I call, mama mentors. We got to collect these mama mentors that
Yeah.
help guide us to be the moms that we want to be. And so for any listener Janet Lansbury really targets younger children under 5. So any listener with that age group, she offers a lot of tools to help with what she calls respectful parenting.
Hmm.
And it felt really good for me to learn from her when I
Great.
was going through it.
Thank you. I haven't heard of her, so that's right. And yeah, I love always having you resources to share.
Mhm.
So thank you. And if parents want to know more and work with you, how can they find you?
Yes, you can find me at mamasimpatico.com. I'm on Instagram at mamasimpatico, and I'd love to connect and talk. I love talking about this. it's one of those things that it's like, wow, kind of got through it and really did some deep diving. So I have a lot of thoughts on it and I'd love to share. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. So I'm going to put all the links in the show notes so that people can find you easily. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Anouk. Thank you.
I'm so glad you joined me today and took that time out of your intense life to focus on finding a new way to parent that works for you and your kids. To get the episodes as soon as they drop, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. And please leave a rating and review so other parents can find it too. Also, check out all the free resources on my website at familymoments.ca so you can take action on what's the most important for you right now. And take a deep breath, keep going. We're all in this together.